Just a quick look at my latest purchases, guys, before we get started. Got a Gandalf the White Wetter, I'm very happy with, and a nice little Minas Tirith statue as well, also from Wetter. Pretty cool. Okay, so now we're on to the main part of today's video, and we're discussing a share or stock again. Today we're talking about Alphabet Incorporated. So that's the parent company of Google. So essentially Google, if you want to look at it that way. Massive tech company, doesn't need any introduction. And yeah, I've been kicking myself really for a fair bit of the year for not investing in it more, because it's gone up about 60%, and it's a very impressive company when you think about it. It's essentially like owning a big ETF, to be honest. It's just so many other smaller companies rely on its advertising for revenue. They're intertwined with it in that way. They've got things like the Google phone, the Pixel phone, the Chromecast, Google Home. They own YouTube, which is another massive buying point, I think. So yeah, I just see it as basically buying a big ETF without having to pay the 0.6% or whatever you want to pay with an ETF per annum. So let's just take a little bit of a deeper dive into what we like about Google as it stands at the moment. Okay, like I mentioned, we're talking about Google today. It's a stock that I'm incredibly bullish on. If I've got to pick between, say, Facebook, Google, Amazon, and those sort of things, I've got Google right at the front, to be honest. Just purely because these days there's no real competition for Google. It's got such a big space in the market, and it has so many different elements to its business, and there's just no foreseeable competition. I mean, Bing's tried unsuccessfully, Yahoo back in the day, Ask Jeeves, those sort of things, but there really doesn't seem to be any competitor that just can sort of buy into some of that space. So one of the main reasons I'm incredibly bullish on it, but I mean, there's also so many other services that I'll touch on in a minute that just make Google a really good buy, I think. I mean, I've just got a few images here quickly to explain what Google's about a bit. So we can see on the left that 61% of its revenue comes through ads, like Google Ads, that they provide to businesses and things like that. So large chunk of its income, its net revenue comes from ads. And then you've obviously got some from YouTube ads, Google Cloud, and then all the other little elements to it. But primary source of revenue is ads. And then just on the right, I've just got a couple of little graphs showing its how good it's been going for the year and for the month and whatnot. I stuffed up a little bit before. It's actually $2,800 per share. I think it was about $2,000 at the start of the year. That's where I would have got that from. But yeah, 61% since the start of the year. That's huge returns on something that's pretty stable for the most part, I think. There's not a lot that seems in this day and age that can go wrong with a Google. I can't, like I said, I can't see a competitor overtaking the space. The digital world's only growing and growing. YouTube only getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I think it's a pretty safe bet, to be honest. As always, do your own research, but I'm a big fan. We've just had the earnings a week or two ago, and as I mentioned, 61% for this year, but the earnings suggested gross revenue, which excludes traffic acquisition costs, jumped 62% to 61.88 billion, like crazy money. Net revenue came in at 50.95 billion, and there was only estimates of 46 billion. So smash earnings out of the sky, really. And then internet search and other revenue rose considerably as well. PE ratio of 30, again, not necessarily that relevant. Something like Facebook is higher. I mean, we know that another big company like Tesla's in the hundreds. So yeah, we're not really buying Google or Alphabet as a value stock, though. It's more of a growth stock. But primary revenue sources come through advertising, which is what we mentioned as well. I just got this off Wikipedia. You can pause this. I won't waste all your time, but you can pause it and just have a look at how many things Google actually have. I don't know the right word to say for that, but you know, they've got YouTube, they've got Fitbit, Google Pixel, Google Chromecast, Google Nest. They've got, you know, they've got maps, calendars. What I'm using right now for this is Google Slides. Just a huge range of services that they provide. They're just getting bigger and bigger. And I don't think a lot of people realize just how big they are. So I can really only, you know, I'm always a 5 to 10 to 15 year stock buyer. I can really only see Google going up, to be honest, in the future. Number one, I mean, YouTube, for instance, let's use that as an example. Pretty much every kid that I see is just on YouTube these days. That's what they watch. That's what they sit behind their screens and do. I mean, we used to watch TV as kids, and I'm sure a lot of boomers still do that. But from what I see, the kids are just all over YouTube and loving that, and that's probably going to transcend through generations as it goes on. And yeah, we use Google for absolutely everything as well, and big companies are using that for their ads and whatnot. So like I said, I'm very, very bullish on it. It really doesn't need any more said about it, I don't think. This is just going to be a short video because it's an impressive stock. It is what it is. You know what you're going to get with it, I think. So like I said, as always, do your own research. But yeah, I think it's a good stock if you're just getting into buying stocks. It's nice and stable. You can watch it for a while, and there's really, you know, touch wood, not a lot that can go wrong with it, I don't think. No major competitors, and yeah, it's a giant. Enough said. So thanks for watching, guys. Just a quick and easy one today. Cheers.